Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Living Luna. We are excited to be back here for season 2 with our live guests. And today we are joined by Kristi Sullivan, who is a human design expert. And she really uses human design to help people embrace their self-care and stop overworking and start overflowing. And I'm so excited today because she's going to help us dive a little bit into human design here so that you can get a real example of how it might apply to you in your life. So let's go ahead and bring Kristi on. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on. I'm so grateful to be here.
Absolutely. So, Kristi, you have a lot of accolades. You're a published author. You have been like teaching human design in workshops and such and lots of different programs. So, what else would you, if no one knew anything about you, what would be the most important things you'd tell them?
I'm evolving.
You're evolved. That is important. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a background actually in like marketing and communications and started teaching yoga like 20 years ago. But now I'm doing human design and it really lights me up. And so um, that's what I love sharing and teaching these
That's
days.
awesome. And I just saw there was an article that said like 2023 is the year of human design, that it's like kind of gaining some traction. So if people didn't know anything about human design, how would you describe it to them?
So my basic way to describe it is that human design is your energy blueprint. It's how you're wired inside. And this is related to your birth date. So it doesn't change. And think of all the life experiences and conditioning that you have and your programming that you've learned in this lifetime are sort of the layers on top of this core operating system that you have. So when you start to really dive into what is this core who you are, it's really fascinating and really kind of validates and opens your eyes to a lot.
Yeah, so human design, I know a little bit more about it than Ikenna does.
hmm
There's sort of these main aspects of it, right? Like I know manifesting generator, projector, reflector. Am I missing any there?
There's 5 types.
5 types.
The predominant is called the generator. And there's a subgroup, I would say, of manifesting generator. That's how I describe it. The two of those together represent 70% of the population. So
Wow.
that's the predominant type, what we call energy type. That's the first place that you usually start when you look at your chart. It's a category, but just know that the two of you are manifesting generators, but you can have very different uniqueness and blueprints, which I've never seen two the same. So, except if you're twins, and even that can be different. But anyway, the other categories or energy types are projectors. They make up 20% of the population. Then manifestors are 9%. And then the reflectors are really rare. They're only 1%.
Wow. Yeah, and reflectors, I wished I was a reflector because I love moon stuff, and reflectors have to do something with like lunar phases, right?
Yeah, it's a little advanced and we don't have to go into it, but it's
Right.
pretty interesting that they follow the lunar cycle if they're really kind of into their human design, and it helps guide them with things like decision making and how they're experiencing different energies. But sometimes the reflector might be the most confused because they have such openness in their energy blueprint. The other types have some more common things about them that help you understand how best to like operate in your energy. So it's pretty eye opening. Yeah.
So, if someone has, this curiosity, they're like, where do I start with human design? Like where do you suggest they start to go to try and learn about it? Aside from obviously go to Kristi and get yourself a full reading, but like if they're just trying to dip their toe in and even understand the basics, like how does somebody start with something that's so complex?
It is complex. We call it a rabbit hole. So I would first recommend, and you can go online to a couple of different sites to look up your chart. And from that, you're going to get this chart and what's called a body graph that has a lot of different shapes and numbers and symbols. And that's usually a good time to like contact somebody to say, help me interpret this. But if you're starting off and doing your own sort of self-study, definitely look at your energy type, which we just talked about, that category. And there's a lot of light that can be shed on sort of how do you naturally operate? Do you need to be taking a lot of breaks during the day, have flexibility in your day for downtime? Are you the type that actually has like the generator kind of sustained life force, workforce energy? And that just means like you need to be moving and doing the right kind of work that you love to keep that energy high. And then from the energy strategy, the other key pieces, if you're just beginning, is to look at your what's called authority, how you best make decisions in your body, or how the body guides you in making decisions. And that's different for different energy types. It's different for different blueprints. So it's unique to you. And another helpful area besides the energy type, the authority, is also your strategy, how best to kind of operate on a day-to-day basis.
I love that because it's like there's like this push of like actually honoring and listening to your own like uniqueness inside of your body. And a lot of times the world has, been like, nope, this is the norm. And if you aren't feeling this way, you're wrong. So the fact that like there's these different archetypes, like human design can provide like shed light onto and allow us to accept the uniqueness that we are and be able to validate the fact that we can listen to those signs in our bodies and not like disregard them or be upset that we have those needs compared to other people. So
Yeah, when I discovered human design, I say the story that I was trying to build a side business using typical formula of business building and network marketing, where do this and you'll hopefully achieve this dollar figure or goal. And I just found it wasn't working so easily. I was initiating, trying to make it happen. And when I recognized as a generator, and if you're a manifesting generator like the two of you, this is key too, that instead of initiating and following that formula that most entrepreneurs are doing and the coaches are teaching, when you looked at how are you uniquely built? Well, generators are meant to respond. So what are opportunities and what are the right opportunities for you to respond to? There just is like this easier way for your business and life to flow when you're following this design and blueprint that's you, instead of a formula that everybody else is trying to follow.
Yeah, and that response is so interesting because when I started to dive into my human design, I saw that I'm supposed to respond, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm like the initiator. No wonder things aren't working for me. And I was trying to figure out what my offer was going to be outside of my therapy space. And I signed up for a workshop, and they're like, what offer are you going to create? And just them saying someone else saying, what offer are you going to create? It was there. I was like, oh, there it is, because somebody asked me instead of me asking myself or me asking other people. So that I needed that like authentic ability to respond to somebody else. And I think that that's like really important information for people to know how to tune in and get the answers, or how to tune in and know when to respond or when to initiate. And some people are supposed to do different things based on their design. So be useful information for people to know. Might make things go smoother.
Well, and as manifesting generators, something unique about the two of you is you both have this creative stream. And it's a little bit like the manifestor type, right? So they'll get this download. And the difference is that the manifestor type, which is only 9%, they are here to initiate. That meaning their energy is here to initiate. That's how their energy flows. when a manifesting generator or other types try to do that initiation, we can do it, but in a way that we're going to have to work harder, probably. We might feel burned out. We might think, why isn't this working? So, with your creative downloads, what's interesting is if you actually wait for an outside sign to validate whether, yes, somebody suddenly asks you for an offer and you're like, oh my God, I was just thinking about that. When you said trying to figure it out, that's using our head to answer the how and what does it need to be and what does it look like, when sometimes we have to allow the space for kind of the universe to line things up. So somebody suddenly asks you and you're like, yes, that offer is something I can give you. And so that's then when you step forward and respond rather than trying to initiate and sell it to everybody before they've even asked for it. So it's that outside sign from the universe that, we talk about, like, wow, I can't believe this happened. It was such, coincidence or serendipity. And really that's the responding to the signs that, yep, that's what we're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel that hardcore. Because those are the things that always shock me, is like, that wasn't like, it's almost like I have to take away the expectation and intention at the very beginning of it. Like, once I get the sign and then I have the intention, then I can move forward with it. But it's like, if I move into a project that I have like maybe anxiously thought over myself to try to like gain control over the situation, then it's like, I haven't necessarily received it and therefore I'm unaligned with those things. So it's pretty incredible once you have like that. It's like you have to experience it to know when you're experiencing your human design
That
aspects.
alignment. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a manifesting generator and generators, it's this feeling of satisfaction when you
Mhm.
know it's like lining up the right way or in a way that's more effortless and easy. If not, it feels like frustration. And in the end, we might feel even overwhelmed or burnout because we're initiating, really pushing. And that really, in this day and age, is something we have to pay attention to. The other thing that manifesting generators also like to do is juggle multiple projects. Sometimes people will say, maybe you heard this when you were younger, like, just focus on one thing at a time. Well, the generator types and some of the others, like, one thing at a time is really our best way of moving forward. But for manifesting generators, they kind of move more quickly and like to variety of things to juggle. That
I
sounds
mean, you're one
familiar.
too. So, hey, you can't give me.
No,
Don't.
I'm still, yeah, called out.
I mean, we have our business and then we have our podcast and we have this and we have that. Yeah, no, that's really interesting that so manifesting generator, I guess, would be almost synonymous with like multi-passionate. Would you say that's accurate? Like
Yeah,
multi-passionate people tend to be?
it's a thread that's common. What I always say and like what I've been taught is also just be aware that not to have this as a label and generalization that applies to everyone, but typically the energy of a manifesting generator is that variety. And if you find yourself like sometimes switching gears and being like, well, I'm done with this, I want to try that, and again you're responding, it's natural that you might not fully finish something,
Mhm.
because something else has caught your attention and you're responding to that instead.
What?
Are there strategies for manifesting generators to come back and finish their projects? I guess is a good question.
Partner with a good generator who's going to finish it for you.
You know what's really funny? So my other partner is a generator.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So we're the Manny Jennies, and then my I don't know why I call them Manny Jennies. It's just
Like-
a fun way to say that, I guess.
It's like a mani-pedi.
A Manny Petty. But yeah, he's a generator and he's like the focus.
Mhm.
He definitely
We'll
reins
definitely
us back in.
Yeah, we'll start a project and he'll definitely be like, okay, I see you all are doing your thing now and I'm going to go finish this project over here.
Gonna finish putting together this thing that you left on the floor in the middle of the living room over here.
Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes like me, I'm a generator, pure generator, and I just feel like I want to be organized. Like I just want to get this completely done. One of the beautiful things though about generator types, both Manny Jennies and generators, is that we're really here to like be the builders and
Mm.
to help the other types with like manifestors and even projectors who are here to share wisdom and insight. We're here to like be the ones who are task oriented and get assignments and projects. We kind of love that, like, oh yeah, because it's something to respond to. And as I say that, it's also really important still that we do our self-care and get our rest. And especially like manifesting generators, they will maybe run out of their battery kind of faster, and so throughout the day having times for rest. And both generator types need movement, so that's another key piece that helps you sleep better, so that your energy is actually used up and don't get a second wind, because that's actually not great for you.
That's me at like 9:30 at night, and I'm like, no, 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 please no.
Yeah, I have restless leg at night if I haven't like moved enough that day.
Yeah. And the other tidbit about a manifesting generator, since I said we would do this mini reading, would be that you have what's called the defined throat center. Um, Human design looks at the chakra system as part of this overall blueprint. And that defined throat center is here to speak and to be a voice, and to use it in a way that's powerful and purposeful. And if you're not moving, then sometimes that energy will get lodged in the throat and potentially create some thyroid issues. So something to be aware of.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that tracks.
That tracks. Yep.
So, yes, you mentioned this mini reading. So, I'd love for you to kind of walk us through, if you were working with a client one-on-one or a couple, what would you go through with them? And we will absolutely be guinea pigs here to showcase that process.
Well, I normally again go through like those layers of the energy type and then the strategy for that energy type, whether you're a projector, generator, or manifester, and then looking at your authority. The authority is the decision making place within the body that provides guidance. So both of you have the sacral center as your predominant authority. Many generators have this. Some have this, but other ways as well to kind of help with decision making. The sacral just means you have access to this like gut feeling, and it's actually in a form of a response. Normally, the example I give is when you listen or you observe children, who, when you ask them a question, they'll use kind of a grunting of like, do you want to do this? Or do you want to do that? That's the sacral response. And generators have access to that unless they've conditioned themselves not to use that and to use the head. So that's something that we would talk about in a reading, which is what do you do with this sacral authority? How do you best make decisions? How do you best respond to the right things and say no to what's not something you should respond to? So that authority is something you both share. You both have a similar. So ask each other yes, no questions if you want to help support the other in making a decision.
Yeah, when I learned my human design, that was actually one of the first things I started asking people to do, is like, stop asking me giant open-ended questions that get me in my head, and start, because the perspective is so broad, and just ask me a yes or no.
Yes.
Which is so interesting because as therapists, both of us have gone into grad school, and grad school's like, oh, for clients, for every, the way that you're going to get a client to talk and like process things better is if you ask open-ended questions all the time. Like, yes, you can do the yes or no questions occasionally, but they're like, do it sparingly, or else like you're going to stagnate the processing or the conversation. And it's like, however, that can be, I know that I have several clients that will get overwhelmed, and I'm like, oh, that was too broad of a question.
You know,
Okay.
that would be really interesting in therapy. Like, if we could just say, hey, if you know your birth time, please go pull your chart and let us know what your what your authority is, because that may change the kind of questions that are asked.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
even better, you could collaborate with a human design practitioner and I could do a reading for them with recording so that you could really help understand your their energy and yeah, how to provide some more specialized, therapy
Yes.
and work with their energy. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and that's actually part of why I'm starting to move away from therapy towards like a coaching or a guide model, because I want to be able to bring people in. And there's some strange ethics in the therapy community where that collaboration piece, unless it's another medical professional, is so, I guess, frowned upon, and we're not supposed to
I mean, it's basically we can
refer in that way. And
right. It's basically we can say, hey, I know these people who do these sort of readings. If you want, if you are curious and want, and I trust this person, but like
but
you and
then
I,
we can't, because that would potentially break
but we
confidentiality.
can't,
So
but
it's
I'm saying,
like
but
this
we can't
weird.
talk to like
Yeah.
Kristi and be like, hey, how's the client that I just referred you to? Like, we wouldn't be able to say anything to each
Yeah.
other.
So that's why I'm like, I want more of that collaboration, because, we work with something called Body of Nine. And Body of Nine, I love this idea, human design being the inner, how did you say it? Like the hardware, the wiring.
Hmm.
Because Body of Nine is like the physical center of leadership on the outside in a way that impacts the inside. So it's like those two together. Like if we could just have every client ever get their Body of Nine and their human design, like it would just unpack their entire life.
Yeah.
And Kristi, I'm wondering what you've seen in terms of this, but I know for me personally, when I learned my human design and my body number, my natural number, it was like my whole worldview shifted and everything started to open up for me. So I'm curious, like, what do you see in your clients once they've learned their human design? What happens for them when they have that knowledge?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, the first thing I typically see is people feel validated and they feel like seen. And that on its own is important, I think, because I think when they're really hearing about themselves and seeing themselves. But then if they're choosing to really experiment with this and who they are at this deeper level and giving themselves like the right self-care, that's great for them, or finding the right kind of work that's for them. I've seen people grow their business. One woman did a reading with me and she hit her first $10,000 month, like because she stopped initiating as a generator. Another had launched this program and really didn't get much traction, but then she stopped that initiating and for 2 weeks really watched what opportunities were out there, and suddenly like somebody hired her for a job, and then a couple people came in as a client, not through her program, but it was really like it was so unexpected, but it was because they shifted that energy. I've seen people also like do parenting in a different style when they
Mm.
understand not only their design but also their children's, or
Mhm.
better relationships, better communication. So it can help in a lot of areas of life. And I also say that it takes time. It's not an overnight. So really, when you even learn about your design, I think it takes time. They say technically like 7 years, because you're so sometimes conditioned that when you see yourself and who you are, you still have these habits that pull you away from doing things in that unique way. You're still following the formula or what you were taught. So it takes some time. And that's why I also offer some support to people in a membership to do that deconditioning process.
That's so interesting how there's this societal revolution of us all realizing that society has created these structures and expectations, and many of us are trying to decondition ourselves from the societal concepts that
Mhm.
have caused us to not listen to ourselves or not not allow ourselves to explore who we really are.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about that in Body and Nine, like there's 9 different physiological different types of people. But we joke, like I think we came up with this, that society has like a number 0 and they want everybody to be the 0. And I imagine like with human design, we could just say like society has this one blueprint that they want kind of everybody to fit, but everybody's blueprint is so completely unique. I mean, we have lots of overlap. I'm curious, do you see that people, like couples that you work with, often do overlap, or are they usually different in terms
Oh,
of how
it
they
can
show up?
be all over the place. And people have said, "Oh, can you tell me if we're a good match?" Well, in human
Mm,
design, it's not about whether you are a match. It's about understanding where there are similarities and where there are differences, and using that information to, again, choose to make choices and honor each other for that uniqueness instead of thinking we have to compromise or change one another. Um, and what's interesting is I do something also called a connection chart. And when you have a couple, you can actually put the two charts together and it almost creates its new design. Like, for example, when Safrian, I look at your chart, there are 4 of the 9 energy centers defined. And I kind of, when yours has 3 defined, but when I put the 2 of you together, you've got 7 out of the 9 suddenly lit up. So what that means is that, and that doesn't mean it has to happen for other couples, but in this particular situation, your kind of electromagnetically, first of all, we're always attracted to people who complete the pieces of our design that we don't always, that are undefined, we call it. But you kind of light up each other in different ways. So every couple can do that. Um, yeah, and there's so many, again, uniquenesses that you just
Yeah.
never see two people the same, for sure.
Gosh. How many sessions does it usually take you with a client to like completely unpack their design, like on every single layer?
I at least start with 2 sessions if you want to go through most of the elements. I would say from there it gets pretty advanced, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend diving all the way into the rabbit hole, so to speak, but to take it in layers. So if you did 1 or 2 sessions, then you have to process that information and really like study it more and get to know it more, which is what I do in like my membership group. And then from there we might go beyond that. Like I also can offer readings if you want to focus on like your business or marketing or self-care. So then looking at that through the lens of your design and human design, in different areas again of lifestyle, because there's really so much to it, that I think, again, taking it in layers can really help your mind to process everything, especially when it may be information that you're just like, I don't get this, or this is so new for me, and I usually do things that old conditioned way. So you got to give yourself some time.
Yeah, and I think that that's great advice to like not try to jump deep into the rabbit hole, because it initially, even looking at your chart can seem kind of overwhelming. So I love your advice to really stick to those 3 main, like the big things,
mhm.
and really look at that and allow that to integrate first before diving in, because I could see people being like, "Oh my gosh, like that's too much." But it's really those 3 core components can open up a lot of information for people. A lot.
Yeah, yeah, that strategy, the energy and the authority, those key pieces they say in the system is what really can just help you align to who you are, to feel like you're in flow. And what I'd say is when you're in that alignment, things do flow. You're feeling more abundant. Your mindset is more positive or more in alignment with who you are, who you want to be. Again, your communication is perhaps different. Your self care, your health and wellness improves. It's like amazing the shifts that can happen just at the surface when you start at some of those basic elements.
Yeah. So we always ask people this question. You kind of answered it a little bit already, but like, How has human design helped you become your authentic self?
Mm. Well, I call myself a personal development junkie or self growth. I always love learning or taking quizzes, learning about myself, or seeing, what does it mean to be a Libra, or when I studied DISC or even the Enneagram, like just all those different pieces. Human design, I got a whole different view of, and I think it complements a lot of those other tools. So for me, it just got to a much deeper level, and it was at a time in my life when I definitely was going through some transitions. And in 2020, I actually left a marketing career and had this like wide door open for what do I want to do next. And I used human design, my design, and using my strategy and authority to help me uncover what was my next steps. And it became a business teaching about human design. I had an opportunity to speak. I had an opportunity to be in a book, a collaborative book. And so those things just unfolded. And so I really owe human design like the the path I am on now and the business I have, because I learned about myself and honored who I was.
Yeah. What part of your own chart surprised you the most as you started to uncover that?
Mm, that's a good question. I have not gotten that.
Can you tell I'm a therapist right now?
Well, off of the top of my head, my open head, I would call it, because in human design, I have an undefined head center. Um, it was just that fact that I had a reason now not to initiate, and I had more of a reason to just like slow down and take in these opportunities and respond and to the ones that felt right for me. And so that piece, not initiating, but instead responded, was not just a surprise, but like that really shifted things for me.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being huge. So Ikenna's is also responding, mine's responding. Um,
Yes.
and so are all, you said all generators are responding, or are there some that are out of that?
No, all generators' strategy is
To
to
respond.
respond. The manifestors are here to initiate, because when they get a download, it's sort of like they're launching right away. And if they get held up, then that stifles their energy. The other types, the reflector is here to really sample other energy, and they follow the moon cycle. Again, that's the rare reflector. But the projectors, who are 20% of the population, are here to wait to be invited, because they are really a wealth of insight and guidance, and we need them with that information, but they need to share it with the people who need to hear it, and that needs to be sort of an invitation to share. So 90% are still waiting versus the
Mm.
initiating.
Yeah.
What's the difference between manifest? Okay, so you said manifestors, generators, and then we are
Manifesting
manifesting
generators.
generators. So how
Yeah,
is
so it's
that?
it's a little bit, what happens is you're a little bit of like the manifestor getting that creative flow, but it doesn't mean you initiate. So it's a
Mm,
different, again, energy blueprint makeup. Um, and sometime, maybe another episode, we could talk about what's called quantum human design, which sort of a different way of like relating to the names and such, because it can sometimes be confusing. But just know that it's different. You're not a manifester, you're just a manifesting
Manifesting
generator.
generator. So in other words, when we get these downloads, we need to go put them in a notebook somewhere. And then when somebody says, "Do you have any ideas about XYZ?" we'll be like, "Oh, actually I do in my idea notebook."
Absolutely. And that's true, because you're getting probably a lot of creative ideas. And if you were to really like move forward and think all of them are something you'd respond to, your plate would be full. You'd find yourself perhaps burned out, overwhelmed. And again, just the idea of like um, listening to your guidance, rather than the head thinking this idea came in, I have to go and launch it. It really can just, it can put you in a different flow state for sure.
Yeah. So very, very valuable information for people to have, whether in business, in relationships, in like literally any area of life. And, I just want to say, having looked at human design and astrology, like I resonate a little bit more with human design, like on a deeper level than astrology. And I don't know if that's something that you see, Kristi. Like, do you get people who come in and have like had astrology readings, but the human design resonates more?
So it's interesting because astrology is a key piece to human design, but you don't have to know astrology to look at your design and understand it. I think of astrology as sort of like the life path that you have, and human design is the car that you're driving on that path. So it's more, in my opinion, like mechanical. Like the astrology is about what's the energy out there and how are you responding to it versus the inner kind of working of who you are. Like looking under the hood of the car and seeing that wiring. That's what human design is.
Interesting. And then the external model of the car would be the body of nine, whether it's a Ferrari or whatever.
There you go.
There we go.
Souped up car.
I love it. So tell us a little bit. I know you've mentioned you have this membership community where people can get support from you and kind of like have that ongoing relationship. You obviously do one-on-one readings, couples readings, where you get into people's charts, and you have books. So tell us about your offers. What if people want to work with you for human design or they want to learn more, how can they work with you?
Thank you for letting me share that. And I do have, this is the human design book. It's called Stop Overworking and Start Overflowing. And that's a collaboration that I led with 25 other human design authors. I also have 5 other books I've been a part of. Those are on my website. And you can reach me through KristiHSullivan.com or through my Facebook community page, which is Kristi's Human Design and Self-Care Community.
And we will have links to those.
Great.
So that people can easily access them. But, this is just such a fascinating topic. And obviously it's impossible to even get into the
quantum.
Oh gosh. Yeah. The fact that you said something about quantum, I'm like, I'm a quantum creatrix. I like that term. Let's go. But it's, this is an advanced system in many ways. But
Feels like humans are complex or something.
yeah, how about that? But is there anything else that you would really want our audience to know or understand about human design if they're like curious?
I think there's a lot of great podcasts out there too. I'm not the only one teaching this, so I say that. I mean, if we're a fit, I'd love to have somebody reach out. But I find there's a lot of great people out there, kind of like yoga teachers. Everyone has a different style. But we're trying to teach the same basic info. And, the piece that I always leave behind is whether or not you do study human design or look at your own unique blueprint, that it's important you do self-care. Self-care is one of the best ways to get your energy, in the alignment. And that self-care is not just, the external self-care, it's the internal too. What are you doing for your personal growth, for healing, for overcoming self-limiting beliefs, all the good inside stuff, right? And the outside stuff too. So
Wow.
just do that self-care and that'll help you flow through life.
Yeah. And, thank you for speaking to that, Kristi, about like finding the right fit, because that's something that we tout in the therapy community too. And that's an interesting piece, like coaching, things like anything that you're working with someone, it needs to be the right fit. So who is an ideal fit for you, Kristi?
For human design.
For human design, for working with you, if someone's listening to our podcast, who's going to know they should reach out to you?
Well, if somebody like me feels like they're a personal development junkie, somebody who really wants to not just learn about some aspects, but really see how it applies in their life. I'm starting to work more with entrepreneurs to help them with their business because this helped me with my business. So if you share a similar story to any of the ones that I shared, and I do tend to work with a lot of women, but I think because women are sort of really always interested in I want to say self-improvement, but self-evolution and knowing more about themselves, not necessarily having to improve because we're all perfectly imperfect in who we are.
Mhm.
Yes, we need, you know what, men out there, we see you, and you're being called to do your personal work.
They're coming
So
around.
human design would be a great place to start with that, because it can be technical and interesting and intricate and
Mhm.
give you a lot of steps to take.
I
So
mean, they like looking under the hoods of cars, so here we go. Look under the hood of your car, men.
yes, we're really generalizing right now,
Yeah.
but
Definitely.
so thank you so much for joining us, Kristi. This is all like, I'm hoping that it's going to give people some things to think about. And obviously you said like some first steps are just pulling your chart, kind of like looking at those, the energy authority and energy authority. What's the third one? Strategy. There we go.
Yeah, I didn't know the words.
I don't know it by heart yet, but that's why we have the expert here.
Yep.
And from there, either reach out to Kristi or do some more research to find the ideal fit. But this is 2023, the year of human design. So that's exciting.
Mhm.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Until next time, it's been a pleasure. And that's a wrap on this episode.
Yeah.
Bye for now.